Ahead of his bombshell book, released next week, he's recorded 2 big interviews to promote it here and in America. In a trailer for his chat with journalist Tom Bradby, Harry says he wants to reconcile with his brother and father, but his family are determined to cast him and Meghan as villains.
It never needed to be this way. The leaking and the planting, I want a family, not an institution. They feel as though it's better to keep us somehow as the villains. They've shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile. I would like to get my father back. I would like to have my brother back.
The programme will air on Sunday, the same day that his interview with US TV host Anderson Cooper will be released in America, where he speaks again about palace briefings to the press.
Why be so public? You say you tried to do this privately.
And every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife. You know, the family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto. And it doesn't really hold...
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining.
Endless.
Private, being done through leaks.
Through leaks. They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story, and then at the bottom of it, they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years, we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayal.
The book is tipped to be particularly critical of William, and even Kate is not expected to be spared. I mean, this is an extraordinary situation. Here's Harry saying, oh, I want to be reconciled with my father and my brother. Gee, Harry, I wonder why that's not happening. Could it be that every 5 minutes you hurl insults and slanders at the royal family, at your brother and your dad? That's why you're not getting a reconciliation. And I'm beginning to feel a bit sorry for this couple because, of course, they're trapped in this world where they have to make money by pouring dirt onto the royal family. That's how they make money. And by the way, they pour dirt onto us, the British people, as well, by calling us racist. But it's all these interviews, just even these clips we've just seen, they're just tacky and excruciating. He's sounding now and looking like a desperate reality TV star who has to give dramatic interviews to get noticed and make money. So welcome to the brilliant new TV series, The Only Way is Sussex. I mean, it's just getting embarrassing.
I like that.
Very good.
He looks like he's just lost on Dancing on Ice, actually.
That'll be next.
Yeah.
The thing is, what's he saying that's unfair? I don't think he's saying anything, that's
Shut
wrong.
up, though.
He tried to chat to the family privately, and stories got leaked. So now he only has one last chance to do this publicly, so that he can have his words not twisted. And
He says that's the reason.
oh, I'll take his word for it.
By the way, that's not how royal stories work. Here's a guy who keeps complaining about the way the media conspire against him and the way the Buckingham Palace conspires against him. He doesn't have the faintest clue how the media works.
Buckingham Palace have conspired against him, just as they conspired against his mother. Like, I don't see why people are thinking
when
that,
did they do that?
Harry is doing anything new. Princess Diana spoke out about the royal family. Fergie spoke to Oprah herself years ago. This isn't anything new. And the proof's in the pudding. Literally today, in our notes here, it says that the palace have said the Duke of Sussex was wrong to claim that the king has shown no willingness to reconcile. Sources have said. So they do. The proof is there. The palace do brief against...
Is there a direct quote from the palace there?
No, because they don't give direct quotes.
Well, so how do you know that came from the palace?
Because it says the palace has said.
Just saying
this
something.
is the point, Kevin, is he's shone a huge light, and this is why the palace are getting so riled up about it. I'm sure, that's my prediction, is because he's just blown open what should have been obvious to everybody in the first place, that this is how the royal rota works.
But hang on a second,
Don't you think, Nicole, it's enough?
What do you mean? Oh, that he's
It's just enough.
Well,
we all
exactly.
know now.
I understand.
Move on.
I get that. However, I would say that an interview on Oprah, a year ago, they've done their or 2 years ago, a Netflix documentary, and then 2 interviews on the same day because he's releasing a book. That's not a lot of press.
But hang on a second.
Yeah, but then
we
he goes...
have seen...
60 Minutes,
He
pretty
goes,
big show.
he goes to the Kennedy honours and he's being honoured for ousting
racism.
Racism in the royal family, and he gets an award for that. Now that's really strong.
But there are a couple of things here. I think I agree. But there are a couple of things here where he says briefings and leakings. They have been doing this. I mean, how on earth did they get all the footage that they had that started right at the beginning of this? So if these meetings that he's talking about behind the scenes, they were filming all this stuff and doing it and sending. So, and how did we hear from Omid Scobie on all this stuff? I mean, they do the briefing and leaking themselves. And I think that there's a two-way street here. And what I actually would say is he talks about the relationship with the king, but then also about his brother. And today, you know, I've been thinking a lot about my family and how important brothers are and how important families and siblings are. And let me tell you that being the youngest of four is not always easy. And things go wrong and you have arguments and you have things. And within the last 24 hours, my second eldest brother, Edward, he passed away way too early. And you know what? The relationship that you have with your sibling and your brothers is the most important thing. And if he can't get on the plane and say, forget all this briefing and this and that and the other, I would say to Harry, please, go and see your brother, try harder. It's the most important thing you can do, because there is one person in this world who has experienced what you have, and it's William. And whatever your disagreements are, cut through the palace material, cut through that. Go and see your brother
James,
directly.
I would say that the same could be said, though, of Charles and of William.
Why doesn't William get on the plane and go and see him?
Exactly. But having said
He's
that...
too busy.
Sharon, I want to know what the
Waiting
view
for his
is.
dad to
What is the view in the
do their
US
job.
now of Harry and Meghan? Are people still supporting them?
It's the younger generation that support them, and I think that older generations have definitely had it up to here with the whining. But the younger kids, you know, they support them definitely.
So the tide is turning against Harry and Meghan?
With older people, yeah, it is. Because, I mean, it's just enough. You know what? You're absolutely right. All families argue. We all argue. It's nothing like a good old bust-up with the family and then you get back together again. It's normal. But what isn't normal is it's for his children. Forget him. His children will grow up with no family, not on his wife's side or his. Now, that's a terrible thing for children.
And there's a whole load of destruction of relationships along the way, isn't there?
Yeah,
I think
it's
I just
so
look at it.
ugly.
The more I see it, the more sad I become, actually. about it.
I mean,
Less
you're right.
angry about
You're right, Chase. But you know, of course, the media feasts on this royal feud.
Sure.
But at the heart of it, you're quite right. It's a really sad situation where a family is kind of disintegrated. But you know, you have to look at the reason why the flames of this are constantly fanned, and it is that Harry and Meghan, and I'm not trying to criticise them here, this is the path they've chosen, but it involves giving interviews to Oprah, it involves writing books. Meghan's going to write a book, the Netflix series, and that is never going to provide a foundation for any kind of reconciliation. And in the end, it's just very sad.
But before they had those deals, before they wrote the books, Prince Harry was complaining about the British press being racist towards Meghan. There were problems already. The royal family were not coming out and defending Meghan before any of this stuff happened. So now Harry and
Your fault, mate.
now want to have their own say, and I think they're right to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be part of a family that treated me like that or my partner like that didn't stand up for my partner.
They could have done a letter and put it in every newspaper in the world. One letter, done and dusted.
Exactly.
But it's going on and on and
Can
on.
I ask a question, though, just before we move on? Just family and institution, because I just wonder whether Harry has really understood that difference. It is oil and water. And we see, I mean, look, watch The Crown. It's all about the tension between the Crown, the institution, and the people who work within it, and the family, and how on earth they reconcile themselves with it. And I'm just not sure he's reconciled himself with this horrendous thing that he's been given that, frankly, I wouldn't want for all the
I think the royal family forget that they're a family. I think it's the other way around. I think they just see themselves as an institution.
I think what is also emerging from this sad situation is that Harry's a very damaged young man, and he's never really got over the death of his mother. And I'm not saying that in any derogatory way. I feel very sorry for him, but the level of his pain over the death of his mother continues apace, and that in itself is sad to see.
I think it's more the pain over the treatment of his mother, though, because mark my words, if Diana was still alive today, she would be the villain still.
Yeah.
That's what was happening at the time. We're so quick to forget. I mean, I was only
there.
very little.
She wasn't the villain. We all loved Diana.
No, but not towards the end. Not when she did the Martin Bashir interview. Not when it was all. Not within the
Needed to
royal
be there.
family.